welcome to Last Week On. My name is Adam Straughan, and we are back covering Invincible, Season 4, Episode 7, Don't Do Anything Rash. But before we get into that, I have a very special guest who is returning to the podcast. So on YouTube, type in AZB, you'll find him on there. He is also the co-host of My Bloody Judy. It's my pleasure to welcome back my friend, Zachary Patton Garcia. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I'm like fresh off watching this new episode, so
Yes.
I've got a lot of thoughts swirling around in my head right now. I don't know if any of them are cohesive either.
You got THRAGG in your mind.
I do got THRAGG in my mind.
Yeah, man. There's worse people to have, let me tell you. He's a baddie, but he's a sexy baddie.
He is. The coat does it. I'm
doesn't
real
it
into the
just?
coat, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like the shoulders in that coat. I'm like, oof, someone dressed you well, THRAGG.
You know, and I saw him. Oh no, because I've been getting a lot of Invincible on my feed, and a lot of people complaining about it, right, and complaining about the animation. But they've been showing like side by sides of him in cartoon form, and then in the actual comics, and he looks pretty badass in the cartoon, but in the comics he's I don't know. I'd be scared of that one.
Yeah, man. He's got like there's something about his sinister look in the comic which is just like because I think I texted you this, Zach, but like in the last episode I told Ian like I've finished the comics, so like I'm all done. But like reading all the THRAGG scenes like off the page, like the way he just looks at you through the page, even I was like,
he looks deranged.
Yeah, like unpredictable. Yeah, he's wild. But and this is like in so many ways, this is like the tip of the iceberg for THRAGG for what's coming later as well, which I'm
is it really?
Yeah.
Shit.
And I was saying to Ian, I think like with everything that they've got left to do, I think we're probably looking at like another 7 seasons.
Seven fucking seasons. I don't know if they're gonna make it 7 seasons.
No. Sorry, not another 7. I mean like up to season 7. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Up to season. I was like, I don't know if they're gonna hold the public for 7 more seasons. I could see season 7. I could see a good 7 seasons. Okay,
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, so like up to fucking hell, another 7 seasons. Even I'd be like, what are they stretching out here? But this is great stuff. I know exactly where they are in the comic. And yeah, like leading up to the finale, like I've got an idea in my mind of where I think they're going to like stop it. But then again, they've done new things. Like there's some scenes I'll point out in this episode which don't happen in the comic, which fleshes out a lot of good stuff. So like I'll point that out as we go through. But like before we jump into that, obviously Zach, last time you were on was episode 3, which is a great episode. And then we had 4, 5, and 6 prior to this one. What's kind of your general thoughts of like leading on from that, like up to this point? Like any standout moments for you, anything like that?
You know, episode 4, I didn't hate episode 4. I hated the episode in the context of the season. We only have 8 episodes this season. So like having a whole like one-off episode is kind of, I don't know, it felt like wasting a little bit. And then seeing this episode, like we still don't have those characters back. So why were they introduced? And I have to imagine they're coming, you know, so
Right.
I give them faith. I do have faith in the writers and all that, but I don't know. That one was just, and then the other 2 are, so 4, 5, 6, yes, 5 and 6, just action packed. We're like, we've just got action nonstop this season. It is not stopping. I feel so terrible for Mark. He needs a fucking break. He's about to lose it. I feel like he's going to lose his fucking mind, and he is going to become the baddie because of everything he has been put through.
Right. But
I don't know how he's still holding on.
That would kind of be understandable, though, right? Like after all the shit he's been through, you know, like this boy cannot catch a break.
If they made him evil after everything he went through, I don't even know if I would hate him, because I hate Nolan. Yeah. But I'd be like, you know what, Mark, you deserve it. If you want to wipe out a couple planets, go for it. You know, take your anger out, take your frustration out. And just leave Debbie alone.
I know, bless him. But Mark's like baby boy can do no wrong, you know, like he never can in my eyes. But it's interesting.
Was seeing yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say it's interesting because like in the comic, like I'm not gonna give obviously anything away, but like the way like Mark's trajectory goes, like by the end when he's doing certain things, you're like me anyway. I was like fully justified. Completely justified. So like I'm excited for the show to like get to that point with Mark. We're like ways away, but I'm excited to get to that version of Mark.
He's how old? 19 at this point? Like
Something
gotta
like
be
that.
like 19. And I was seeing side by sides of the animation of him in season one versus now. I
Hmm.
don't know if it's intentional, but he looks worn out, especially
Yeah.
like in animation. It's really hard to do that, I guess. And he looks worn out. He looks like a completely different person. His face shape is completely different. He just looked like I don't know. He's been pulverized like 5 times over by this point, right?
Right. And his insides have been like all reshaped and like they're everywhere,
It
right?
is like Buffy being resurrected from the dead, but times
Hmm.
10, you know, like
Literally.
it keeps happening to
And
him.
it's like
So,
it's like Scream as well. Whenever these people get stabbed in the stomach, it's like all of their internal organs have just
you
moved
know
all over the
what? At this
place.
point, with all of his intestines and everything being torn out of him and him still surviving, I think he's probably good to go, but we don't know what's happening with the mental
Exactly.
health, you know.
Exactly. That's what we need to check in with. But what I will say is in the last episode, we had so many great heroic moments from Mark that I
Hmm.
fucking love. So, like, you know, I mean, he literally was resurrected, right? Like, he was going to die and then he slowly came back kind of to life from healing. But then, like, all of that, like, when he was pushing up the ship with, like, Nolan and Alan and all of that, great hero moment, like,
Yeah.
saving the people on that planet, like, breaking the ship in half to start with, saving Tech Jacket when he punched Anissa, like, so many great hero moments for Mark. And it's nice to see because we see him get the shit kicked out of him so many times. So like I hang on to the moments when he's actually heroic and does something really great, you know?
Yeah. It's pretty fantastic. I feel like when we baby is either going to be about to come or the baby has already been born and he doesn't need this right now. This is not something he needs in his life.
I'm saying nothing.
Uh
But yeah, but they got to address this. Obviously, the way this episode ends and the fact that they're going to Earth, they're going to have to address that. And I'm intrigued to see where it's going to go. That's all I'm going to say.
mhm.
But
Okay.
yeah,
All
let's
right.
let's jump into this episode. Let's do it. So also, what do you think of Lee Pace's Throg? Like just generally, like his voice work.
It's fun. I mean, he's he keeps himself pretty stone faced, right? So like
Hmm.
he's not showing a lot of emotion anyway. So it's okay. I don't know.
Hmm.
I think towards the end of the episode it was a lot better when he
Right.
was starting to crack a little bit more.
Hmm.
Um, so
Yeah, because
yeah.
he's like, there's a lot of shit online that you were saying about the animation, but also about him voicing Throg. And there's even some voice actors out there who've like taken his voice out and replaced it with their own to say like, this is how
Oh,
Throg
they
should
don't
sound.
like it. The people don't like
No,
him.
oh no, no. There's like a big part of the internet who's like, yep, badly cast, doesn't sound menacing enough. And
What
for
would you? What do you think?
to be honest, I will say because like Lee Pace is like such a well-known voice, and I've said this before, like he does for me. I'm just gonna say it. He
Yeah,
does the same voice like this all of the time, like in everything that he
I
does.
hear that. I hear that.
So like to hear that in like The Hobbit and then in Foundation and then like other things he's done, and then I hear that voice again, I'm like, okay, like I've heard this before. But as you said in
Hmm.
this episode, like when he is starting to crack and he's really like letting his emotion get carried away, I was like, okay, I'm seeing the real kind of depth more of this
Yeah,
character now. And this episode, like I've never hated him. It was just another like, oh, it's another Lee Pace voice. But in this
yeah.
episode, I thought he was really, really good.
Well, I guess like he had a little bit more to do in this episode, so we'll just
Yeah.
see what it holds in the future. If you were to replace his voice with somebody else, who would you replace it with?
I don't know. Like that's tough.
Hmm. Are you going for like a deeper sort of like
I
grittier, or are you keeping it clean still?
I think I would
Because
go.
Lee's voice is pretty clean, right?
It's very clean. It's very like
Hmm.
a like theatrical voice. It's giving like it's very kind of Ian McKellen, like very strong, but very like for the stage. So like you know, and hello actor, like I recognize that, but also like
Yeah.
I think I would get a little bit more grit in there. Definitely a little bit more of like a smoky kind of grit, like in the voice. I think.
Okay.
And I think that would give that a little bit more of menace. But I think this portrayal plays off well because it makes him a little bit more unpredictable. Like to hear that voice, like that grit voice, I think you'd kind of expect a little bit more of like,
I think
okay,
you know what? I agree with that actually. I
yeah,
think that's pretty spot on because when you do hear his voice, he does sound I don't know, he doesn't sound that much different from the other Viltrumites, and I didn't realize how strong he was until the end of this episode. And
yeah,
so maybe that does work to
hmm,
its benefit in
yeah.
that surprise element, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. I definitely think it adds to the level of unpredictability, and that's a big thing that you can't forget about Throg because it's almost like, in a way, it's not even like he sees the way he's like 10 steps ahead all the time. It's more like you don't know what he's going to do in the next moment. And like even the other Viltrumites sometimes are like, we don't know. Like it happens in this episode. They're like, we don't know what he's going to do next, you know? And that's what his voice and his portrayal definitely adds to that, in my opinion, anyway. But yeah, let's get into it. So
let's do it.
We start with this flashback. So we see like the workers on this planet, they're revolting, and they obviously make a point of this. The Viltrumites. We see Argyle for the first time. We haven't seen him properly yet until this point. We see Regent THRAGG, who obviously isn't in charge yet. We see Thaddeus and obviously other people other faces we've seen before, and they're basically having this conversation, saying like, "Look, how should we deal with the revolt?" And what I really liked about this, in a way, is that it kind of answers the question of like, was Nolan the only one to deter from the Viltrumites? Because obviously we knew there was a betrayer, right? We knew that like Thaddeus was the one, the great betrayer, and we saw that earlier on when Nolan was teaching the two kids, like, oh yeah, the great betrayer, he's the one that killed our leader. But what I like is that, when Thaddeus is like, we shouldn't kill them, we should do this, and they're all like, are you insane? Like we should kill them, we should show them how powerful we are, we should show them how to dominate, and eventually they go against Thaddeus. But later on in that conversation, you do hear when they say like, oh, well, Thaddeus spent a lot of time like in a different quadrant away. And that's very similar to Nolan. Nolan spent 20 years in another planet, and he got influenced by that race. So it's interesting that Thaddeus did the same thing, and it shows you that there is potential there for the Viltrumites to be influenced when they are away from Viltrum.
I think that, like, I agree with that, but I also think that I don't know, this next couple scenes are really great at showing how ego can cause a collapse as well, right? The Viltrumites they have such an ego. And their only answer to anything, rather than like sitting down and saying, hey, how can we get them to fall in line without having to take out 25% of their race, or completely decimating them, instead of sitting down and trying to figure out another solution, they're always going for kill so that we can come out more dominant. And then they even extend that into their own race, right? Their own sort of the Viltrumites, right? And they go through and they're doing battle of the fittest. And it's so interesting to see that happening and then see them now where there's less than 40 of them left, and how ego really played a part in that. Because if they had held their numbers strong, if they had nurtured, I've been having a conversation with my husband about this, just in different topics, and how he was telling me that going into the job market now, as a civilian, he is noticing a lot of companies and businesses who are not nurturing employees and their teams because they're just replaceable. So you can just fire somebody and just hire somebody else. Whereas like in the military, you can't really fire somebody in the military because everybody's under contract and you're just like in the military, right? And so it is your job to nurture that and say if it fucks up, then you fix that and you figure out how to make them a stronger part of the team so that the team remains strong. Like the mission is to keep the team strong. And it's so interesting now watching, these Viltrumites doing that same thing. And rather than keeping their team strong, they're like, well, let's just, I guess have like a weekend where we just kill each other and see who fucking survives. And now they're down to less than 40. So, their fucking egos have absolutely wiped them out.
That's such a great point that you made there about like, the working place, because it's very similar. That's such a great point you made, actually. I've never thought of it that way, where like people are expendable, and then people are just swapped out, like, okay, like another cog in the machine in many different ways. Who's the better cog to replace this? And like we see that, right? Like even Nolan, when he first told Mark, when he came, when he was truthful and he was like, look, I'm going to be honest, this is where I'm from and this is the situation. It was the survival of the fittest, right? We wiped out the weak. And then we see here that obviously THRAGG was like, right, okay, there was dissent in the Reach. So like, let's get rid of that thinking. Like anyone that could potentially betray us, let's wipe all of this out. If you think you're strong enough and you're a real Viltrumite, you will survive this fight. Yeah. And it's weird because that highlights like a hypocritical side of THRAGG as well, because like he is trying everything right now. Obviously, I know it's gotten down to like less than 40, as you said. He's trying everything right now to preserve the Viltrumites, right? Back then, because he had control over this and he implemented this, he was like, yeah, you can wipe everyone out because that's my choosing. Whereas when the virus came along and wiped out majority of them, that wasn't his choosing. So again, it leads back into the ego point that you brought up, where like if he's in control of something, it's fair game. If he's not, he's like, oh fuck, I'm on the back pedal here. So yeah, ego ego is definitely a great point to bring up there. And
It's absolutely insane.
yeah, I mean, and from him as well, it's only going to get worse. But fucking gory as hell. But we come to expect that, right? Like when they are ripping each
Every
other's
episode
guts
by
out.
this
Yeah,
point. I
we're just
don't
like,
even know if they can shock me anymore.
Yeah,
I'm waiting. I'm
literally.
waiting for the next shocker, I guess.
My like measurement as well as like my husband like cannot do gore like in things like in that episode when like Conquest was pulling out Mark's guts, like when he was killing him, like David had to leave the room. He was just like, this is too much for me. Oh yeah. And I'm sitting there like, nah. And then like this episode, the mark was like David didn't leave the room. He was just like, why? That was all he could say. Like,
it's they've like, I don't know, I think the bar right now is at Mark having his intros torn out of him, so we've got to kind of beat that. I feel like that's the thing of every season. It used to be that every season would be like, okay, what's the moment of the season that's gonna make us squirm? And now by this season, it's like almost every other episode that it's doing that,
literally. And like, what a bar and what a sentence. Like, oh yeah, the bar is Mark's guts being ripped out, and if we're not there, then we're all... What a fucking sentence. But I do like as well, like the people that are left who we've seen before, right? So like Conquest, we've seen Krieg before, we've seen Thula with like the long hair and the knife on her hair.
Yeah.
And like they're obviously chanting all his hours, which is the chant of the Viltrumites, which makes complete sense. That is such an ego-driven chant from the Viltrumites, all his hours. And then we come back to the present day. So we get all of the coalition. We get Thaddeus obviously talking. He's basically saying, look, guys, this is the situation. We have to take the fight to Viltrum because they're on the back foot.
I'm so excited about that.
Same. I love like this build up when he's like, even the way the last episode ended with a big fight, and it was that Buffy season 7, no, we're going to win. It's that type of thing. And it's nice to hear that at fucking last, considering how many times we've seen the Viltrumites come down to Earth, come down to other planets, wipe everybody out. It's so nice to have a real big speech.
And I did think of Buffy season 7 as well, because she was often trying to get them to just go attack them on their own turf rather than waiting for them to come. And I do, listen, I'm not a military leader. I don't lead any troops or anything like that. So just this random ass guy who's saying, no, that seems like it worked, but it does. It seems like a good sneak attack, a good surprise. But also at the same time, I'm like, oh no, y'all are like 6 people. It's not a little nervous for you anyway, because I figure at least even 40 are pretty wild to go up against, And I feel like the power scaling is a criticism that I've seen in of this series, and I don't know, I kind of agree, because I figure even with the amount of Viltrumites that they were going up against, I figured those Viltrumites should have been able to wipe them out pretty easily, and still they weren't, and so that seems like, I don't know, a little bit like powered down from what we were told, how they are. So, but it's nice to see, our team being like, you know what, this is our chance. They're not expecting us to come. They just left. This is when we got to go strike. We're not going to be any more ready than we are right this second.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that is a critique. Like, obviously, Ian did text me about that as well, like talking about like that as a critique. And, in many ways it is right. Because, like, the Viltrumites, how many times have they just shoved their arm through someone and then, like, moved to another person, which we see in this as well later on. But, like, I like that they did bring in this, like, Dart storyline as well with, like, Tech Jacket gave her something to do. But, like, it's frustrating as well because Tech Jacket, by the way, is a guy in the comic, not a girl. But, like, like it's so much more powerful, and I just wish we got to see more of that. But I did like this. It kind of justified more of like Alan and other people being able to literally like punch their fist through them by making them weaker. And it was nice to see that. And that's a callback to one of the episodes earlier on when you saw like Nolan and Alan going to different planets. Right, we're going to get these insects. Their toxin can do this thing to the Viltrumites. Let's get these creatures. They're really tough fighters. They can bite into the Viltrumites. So it's nice to see this like coming together, like the plan working out step by step. But you are right. Like there is an inconsistency whether they just want to punch someone or whether they want to rip someone's head off. But this, when Mark is recording his message to Eve in the bedroom, that's all new. That doesn't happen in the comic.
Oh, is that? Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it's more of a like Nolan walks in and they have a conversation about how he's feeling, and he does obviously mention Eve just saying like, I don't know whether I'm going to see her again. But that's new. Like at first I was like, is Mark FaceTiming her from space? Like what are we doing?
It looked weird for a second. Yeah. I guess this is just supposed to be our moment to give us a little bit of emotional weight on his end. Although it
Yes.
didn't really work for me. I also just don't care about them enough. I don't think I care about Mark in a relationship is what I've come down to. Because I didn't care about him with Amber and I don't care about him with Eve, you know. It's
Unless
like
it's
nice
William.
to see. William should be up there with him.
Listen.
But I guess the point of it is just to give them emotional weight, right? And also remind us that she's there because I know we're gonna go back to her and catch up with, the baby storyline. So we're supposed to be reminded, oh, Eve's around and she's pregnant, so he doesn't even know that yet.
Yep. Yep, that's going to be a thing. So we'll see where that goes. But that's all I'm saying. But yeah, it definitely was more of an emotional beat. And it was that reminder because in reality, in the grand scheme of things, like Eve hasn't been in like too much of this season. She was in, bits in like the early part, but not as much as say like the prior season or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it is that reminder of that little check-in of, hey, remember Adam Eve? She is at home waiting for Mark.
But I feel like it would have packed more of an emotional punch had he been recording something, maybe even with Oliver for Debbie,
Debbie, yeah.
like I don't know, she's already so worried about letting both of them go anyway, and them
Mhm.
recording a message for her saying, you know, we're gonna make it back to you.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry that we had to do this to you, whatever. I don't know. Yeah.
That's a great point as well, because especially when we see like what happens to obviously Oliver later on, like in that moment of when it initially happened, that would have hit. I mean, it already hits hard, but that
Hmm.
would have hit 10 times harder, thinking like, oh fuck, he recorded that message for like Debbie.
Yeah. Hmm.
Maybe if we did a rewrite, Zach, that would be what we would add in there, definitely. We do get this cute little scene with I love seeing Battle Beast back. I'm a big fan of Battle Beast. I think he's
Yes.
so fucking good. He's actually really like pretty sexy in the comic as well. Like he
Is
he
he?
gets he gets this girlfriend and like they have sex and he's like, oh, I'm going to come back to you and everything. And it's really kind of fucking hot. And it's a shame we don't see
Yeah.
that here. But I love this like when they're all like Alan and like Tech Jacket and Oliver and they're all hanging out like, oh, what would you have for your last meal? This and this. Then he's just like, out of the entrails of my enemies. And they're all like,
He's like, I want to be choking on my own blood, and that'll be my last meal. That's a satisfying last meal, and I just love that. I need Battle Beast on my team. If I ever am
yes.
going against somebody else in the galaxy, that's the one you want to have, right?
There is a great Battle Beast story that is coming up, and I am so hope that they lean into this
Perfect.
because it goes on for about a week, and I so hope they really lean into it. But as well, like alongside Invincible, so like last year into this year, they did release like singles of Battle Beast, like a little its own standalone comic season, and it was like what Battle Beast was doing while he wasn't in Invincible. So you got to see like everything he was up to. That
I
was
think
really
he could
fucking good.
totally have his own special, like they did
Agreed.
with the Adam Eve thing. I
Yep.
I do think he is like captivating enough, right? And right now,
Yes.
all they've really shown us of him is I am out to like find the best opponent I can find. But we know he's got another life, right? Like he's got
Yeah.
people he cares about, and I want to see a little bit of that, right? A little bit more
Right.
Battle Beast.
Yeah, exactly. No, big fan of Battle Beast. Let's just see him chilling out, watching some TV or something. But no, the thing with Battle Beast as well, I don't know if you know, but like Battle Beast is basically he has this curse inside of him, which gives him this unbelievable rage, which is
Hmm.
why he is looking for the big, like the best like enemy to fight against him because he wants basically to be killed to end his life of this rage of this virus because he can't get rid of it, which is why he constantly fights big,
And they
powerful
haven't said
enemies.
that in the show at all.
Nope,
They
that
haven't.
hasn't been
Okay, so
addressed.
what
No,
the fuck are we doing?
exactly.
I want to know why we haven't had like one-off sort of like
Yeah.
episodes between seasons again, right?
Yeah, we should. We should. And I know that clearly if we had that fucking shit episode, episode 4 about Damien
That could have been
Darkly,
Battle Beast
could have been Battle
episode.
Beast.
What the hell are we
Exactly.
doing?
Get Robert Kirkman on the phone right the hell now. Tell me about it. Now, I did like, getting back to this, now I did like this scene between Nolan and Thaddeus. I thought this was a really important scene because although they are aligned, like Nolan is thinking, I guess, more pragmatically than what Thaddeus is in this moment, and a little bit more with his heart. Because like Thaddeus is kind of very much saying, look, Nolan, like I see I see that you're worried about something. What's on your mind? And Nolan's basically saying, look, Throg needs to die. I completely agree with you there. However, you are giving that all Viltrumites have to die. They all have to be wiped out. Also, my son's a Viltrumite. So, like, what are
Yeah,
we doing? And you notice Thaddeus doesn't answer that question. Like, they're
yeah.
interrupted before he gets the chance to answer.
Because that's one of those things that like we have to focus on objective number one, and then we're
Yeah,
going to address something
right.
else. And it's probably not going to be the answer Nolan wants to hear, but
Yeah.
we can also just figure that out when we get there, right?
Cross that bridge when we get to it.
My
But
gosh.
but no, you're right. And as well, time is of the essence, right? Like they're literally going to Viltrum. It's like, and then when they get interrupted, it's like, look, guys, we're basically here. We have to go.
It
But
is like it's a really good like build up to battle too these seasons because it reminds me of like the build up to I don't know the ending of season 5 or the ending of season
yes.
7.
Oh my
When
God, yeah.
they're just playing Dungeons and Dragons or they're just I don't know just the sitting around and like we kind of just have to talk because we're sitting in wait and
Right.
nobody wants to talk about how they're scared to die or they're scared of the upcoming battle so we just kind of make jokes and
Yeah.
I like that.
No, it's right, and it is. It's very kind of like, it reminds me a little bit of Anya in like the last episode in Chosen when she's like, "I'm terrified. I'm absolutely terrified," but holding this
Yeah.
giant sword, and it isn't. It's that time of like, wait, I've got this brief minute to actually catch up on my feelings and check in how I'm actually feeling. Wait, we got no time for that shit now. We got to go. So everything is heightened right now, and you're right. It's like priority number one. Let's go. But I did like this scene when like Nolan does go and see Oliver and Mark, and like he's fumbling over his words. He's obviously never said like "I love you" to Oliver, and then Oliver
Yeah.
hugging him and like Mark putting his hand on him. It's nice to see that family unit, like
It,
especially where they started off.
Yeah. It is, I guess, sure.
But
I just hate Nolan. I hate him and
that's
I hate
fair.
what he's done to Oliver and like
Yeah.
I don't want Oliver to hug him. I
Mm,
want Oliver to stay mad.
yeah.
So that's just me being bratty.
That's completely fair. And I guess for Oliver's sake, like he needed that, and he's still a kid at
He
the end of
did.
the day, so he needed that
Yeah.
on his
He
terms.
doesn't
But
have his mom there, so he
exactly.
needs somebody else there.
Right, exactly. And Debbie ain't around, so like.
Hmm.
And then they head out to Viltrum. I still kind of so this is dark as fuck, but I also really love it that like all the bodies are like creating the ring around the planet.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's
yeah,
so cool. And like their whole reasoning for it being that they thought that that would be I don't know, the most appropriate resting place for all of them so that when Viltrumites leave their planet
yeah.
through these bodies as a reminder to stay strong, right?
Right.
Like the mental fucking manipulation going on with these Viltrumites is fucking insane.
Yeah. Nah, man. I mean, and that's such a Viltrumite thing. Like, look at the bodies of the
Hmm.
people that's died. That should make you stronger. Like, that's the message
Hmm.
there. And when like
Yeah.
emotions, like we ain't got time. And like to go from a scene where like Nolan is hugging his son to then go to this scene is like polar opposite, right? Of like Viltrumites, we ain't thinking about emotions. We're thinking about what we need to do
Yeah.
and get done. So that was like a good little contrast to go from that. I love this as well. So in the comic, this is real. So like Thula is her name with like the long hair and like the sword.
Hmm.
You literally see a
Love her.
shot. So good. Love that fucking hair. Honestly, it's like giving Lara Croft Platt all the way down. Like
I'm glad we've
I
built
love
up our
it.
Viltrumites up until
Yes.
now too, because it's nice to recognize all of them. And
Right.
and I like the lady with the short hair. I really like her. The lady with the
Anissa.
long hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Obsessed with
badass.
those.
No, absolutely. And as you said, like it's great to see them return because like we saw Anissa before, like I still fucking love that scene. Do you remember when she had Amber by the neck and she was like, try and move
Yeah.
over here and I'll snap her neck? Like that level of intensity from her never gives up. It's so
Yeah.
good. But like as well, like as you said, it's nice to recognize these people like when they fought on Thraxa and like obviously Nolan and Mark fought against her, fought against like Krieg came down as well. So it was nice
Yeah.
to see these people again. But then we see THRAGG is waiting also within the ring. Now, that doesn't happen in the comic. THRAGG comes along later on. So that was interesting. When I saw this episode, I was like, oh, damn, he's there? Like, interesting. This fucking fight is tense. Like, I
Yeah.
loved it. I love, like, how they're, like, all in, like, together in, like, a group, and then they just surround them, and just you're like, oh, my
Oh,
fucking
it's
God.
so fucking chaotic. Yeah, we've
Yeah.
got all the Viltrumites surrounding all of them, and then they all break off into their own individual fights. And what I really love about the fights is that you'll see each of them taking on like one or two Viltrumites, and then you see them like swap which Viltrumites they're
Yes.
fighting. So they're all like they just keep swapping and going in this like tangled spider web of fighting that you can't even like really like
Yeah.
fucking tell what's going on, some of the time.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's chaos. And it's well, it's like, just as you said, it's like continuously moving. And remember, like Nolan said to them, don't let THRAGG leave you away, like lead you away. Keep together as a group. Because if he does, he will wipe you out like individually.
Yeah.
And Throg, I love that Throg is just kind of standing back and watching initially, because he is the strongest Viltrumite, like hands down. So he's like, yeah, I could kill these fuckers in a second. Again, I like seeing the darts work. I like seeing when Alan like punches his fist all the way through that one. He's like, okay, they're working. Fucking Space Racer pisses me off. He really does. He's got this gun that can wipe them out.
And they built that gun up to be some big thing, and we didn't get one this episode, right? Not one Viltrumite being. Did he?
No, he did. He did. Yeah.
Okay.
Did. Yeah.
So much was well. At least we got one. But shit, I feel like just hold fire and just like kind of move the gun around and
Thank you.
say who you get.
Listen, guys, line him up, one shot through them all. What are we doing? Like, fucking hell. And then, like, he disappears for, like, 10 minutes and then comes back. It's like, where did you go? Did you go and order food? Like,
he's just around, yes. Hit a drive-through, you know.
Going for a space burger. Like, what are we doing? Like, where are you going? But I did loved the moment when he came in with the cavalry and brought all of the Ragnars in. That was so fucking cool. And that's from the comic as well. I did love that. And just, because, again, it's a callback to what we've seen before, right? When they were like picking up the frozen ones, and like him and like Nolan and Alan were picking them up and putting them on the ship. I love to see this like layer of, so like the toxins come back in, the Ragnars come back in, like all of this accumulation going back up. And even that heroic shot of like, do you remember when the camera showed you like all of them standing there in a line together before they left? That's a page from the comic, like just that shot of them all together. So that's really fucking cool. So I love seeing that. But yeah, no.
Well, and it is nice seeing everybody sort of with their own, because everybody like breaks off a little bit. But they all have like their own plans. They're all like bringing their own little bits of ingenuity into the fight and bringing what they can.
Right.
And it just, I don't know, it shows like good battle smarts, I guess, right? Because if you can't be as strong as a Viltrumite, then you can bring some brains and you know a little bit of planning.
Exactly. I mean, and to be fair, they're in an advantage there where like they've got Thaddeus, who isn't someone who's kind of like leading with ego in the way that Throg is. He's like kind of seeing the greater good, which we saw him obviously start to do in that flashback. And it just shows you how much more kind of prepared they are, right? Rather than going in all brawn, which is what the Viltrumites are doing, they're finding it more difficult because they're working a way around that tactic, which Nolan has seen before, Thaddeus has seen before. So that learning has definitely been seen here, which is really fucking cool. I really loved this when Nolan goes for Throg and he punches him down to Viltrum, and then they have this conversation. This doesn't happen. This doesn't happen in the comic. This is all new. This is
just so like I am happy we had a pause. I usually don't like a pause in a battle, but we've had so much battle this season that I liked them taking a moment and talking. Do you watch Euphoria?
I saw the first season and that's it.
Okay, so in the second season, there's a Nate's dad named Cal, right? And he's got his own like little backstory portion of an episode where it shows him as like a little closeted gay teen. And that's kind of reminded me of these two. I was like, I feel like they had their own little thing when they were younger. And you know, I'm picking up some vibes here.
Please, when they come together like that, I literally wrote in my notes, kiss, ? Because that would be so fucking hot.
I feel like there's backstory there, Radagi. And
listen, they've rubbed mustaches together at one point in their life. Let me tell you, that's definitely happened. 100%. But yeah, like all of this, one, was kind of pretty fucking hot. But two, like, I liked all of this because, you know, in a way, this is Nolan looking at a reflection of himself of how he used to be, you know? So, like, this is how, do you remember when Nolan had that full conversation at the end of season 1 with Mark, when he was trying to say to him, like, this is what the Viltrumites are, this is what we do. This is Throg literally having that conversation with Nolan without obviously pounding his face into a mountain. But, like, and it's so, this is a good scene to show you kind of, like, obviously how far Nolan's come. Even though there is that little temptation when Throg picks up on his hesitancy about Thetis, and I really like that when like Nolan puts his head down, doesn't say anything, and he's like, "Oh, so you're not as naive as what I thought you were," and I really like that from Nolan because there's still that little bit of something where
it's really good, especially like in an animation to have a moment like that. And it comes off so clearly, you know. And I don't even think it's just the hesitation over him. I feel like it's a little bit of hesitation over, well, I am betraying my own species, you know, and I still feel wrong about that. Something about that still feels wrong, you know, especially when we're so few down in numbers and now I'm, you know, here attacking. And it worried me before we got to the end of the episode. It worried me. I was like, He's still thinking about it,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want him to have now brought Mark here and then him flip again and he imprisoned Mark here on this planet and Mark is forced to be a Viltrumite or whatever the
Right.
fuck.
Yeah, well, don't worry about that. That ain't happening. But you're right though. It does put that little seed of doubt in your mind, like, which again, I do like that. And some of the best characters are those grey characters when you're like, there's a little bit of something there. But I think mostly for me, what it is obviously is that, as you said perfectly there, Zach, like that's still his race, right? So like he's
Yeah.
feeling that loss in a way, the same way THRAGG is, just in a different way. But also,
Hmm.
like Nolan understands, well, I changed, Thaddeus changed, so why can't
Yeah.
they? We're not giving them that
Well,
chance.
and it's also just not like this is also the thing, right? Is logic would tell you that the way that the Viltrumites are going about this and trying to preserve their race is not working.
Yes.
This is just dwindling their numbers even more. I think their planet is a really good reflection of just their race dying and them being the cause of it. They're killing
Yep.
themselves, right? Because
Yep.
it is crazy when you go down and you see everything is dark and
Yeah. And the
stormy
lightning.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
you expected like the blue skies and the really white buildings and everything is
Right.
crumbling and they did it to themselves. And so he that is also a part of change is that Nolan has now seen, if we're meant to believe that he has seen it, he's seen that there is a way to change and preserve not only yourself, but the people that you love and the people that you care about. And he does care about the Viltrumites, but they are not willing to change with him.
Yeah.
And so they are, bringing about their own demise.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So true. And I guess in many ways, like the Viltrumites being the way they are, would probably never imagine that they would get to that point because they're always
Yeah.
so in the headspace of, no, we're in charge. We've got this. Everything's going to
I
go
don't
the way
even
that
think
we think it
they
will.
have even come around to it yet.
Yeah.
I still think that they think that they are above everybody enough that it will work out in their favor eventually. They just have to remain mentally tough. They just have to remain the strongest and I feel like if he ordered it, they would still take out half of their numbers even at, less than 40,
Yeah.
you know.
And you're right
So
as well.
it's
And it's another thing about control, right? Because like they, in their minds, like they are in control. They've got the upper
yeah.
hand. We've got this. We will rebuild. This will happen. That's what Throgg's basically saying to Nolan in a way. He's like, come and rejoin us because this is what's going to happen. That's basically what he's saying. And
Mhm.
Nolan's kind of like, well, no. Which is why when we get the scene when like the planet blows up, that's when Throg cracks because he's like,
Yeah.
hold on a fucking second. That was not in my plan. You know what I mean? So that's why he
Can't wait
freaks
till
the
we
fuck
get to
out.
that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, baby, that's good shit. But but yeah, so I love as well like they're face to face, and he's like, the death of any Viltrumite leaves a void in me, and then like punches Nolan right up into the stratosphere. Such a good line, such a
It
great
is.
delivery. But then, okay, when Oliver goes for Throg, and then Throg like catches him and like basically
Ugh.
crushes his hand and says, "You're not one of us," and then punches his jaw off.
Because he's a fucking bug. I get it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
And I hated that baby too back in the other season. But I love Oliver now, and I don't like the disrespect for Oliver. Um, uh, you know, and then so he like basically dismembers him
yeah,
and then sends him floating into the fucking
into space.
space. And then he's just floating there for the rest of the episode.
Basically, yeah.
Like nobody can do anything for him at this moment. So he's just kind of like
Like just
in the
off he
fucking sky until
goes.
the very end. And I feel terrible for him because it shows him every now and then. And
Hmm.
he's just, I'm glad he floated next to his arm still.
Right,
Never
right.
lost his arm. So that's nice.
Did you think at this point watching it, did you think that was Oliver done for? Did you think he was dead?
No, because you know what? And there's a problem with the show is that
Okay.
everybody just survives everything. Like I
Mm,
keep seeing these big deaths of these characters that they make it such a moment that these characters die or that we think they die, and
mm,
then they're just fucking back again. So
mm.
there's no. It doesn't feel like there are. It doesn't feel like there's any stakes. It doesn't feel like anybody can actually die. So I'm like,
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
So two things on that. I'm not going to give anything
Hmm.
away, obviously. One, like we saw Rexplode die, and I'm pleased that we lived with that moment. So like his
Hmm.
funeral, he is dead, he is gone.
Yeah.
I miss him in the show, I will admit, but that death had to happen in order for it to
Yeah.
mean something.
Hmm.
We obviously saw Atom Eve when like Conquest killed her. She then like rose from the dead and blasted him, and that's like
Hmm.
an ongoing thing with her story, which is a little bit for me like, is it a little bit of a cop out? I don't know, but
Kind of.
kind of, like, because then is she ever in a threat? That's my question. But what I will say going forward, some of the biggest moments when I was fucking gagged reading the comic is what's coming, not in the next episode, but what's coming up. Some of the deaths, Zach, some of the deaths that happen, it didn't even, there was no build. It just bam happened.
I think I'm ready for that because it needs to bring me back to that sort of season 1 feel where I remember the very first episode. I wasn't even going to watch this fucking show because I just like I'm not a superhero guy. It's very rare. And my husband was watching the first episode, and I was kind of like just watching through a peripheral, and then we get to the end of that first episode, and everybody fucking dies. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like huge stakes with that. Like anything goes kind of thing, and now it doesn't feel like anything goes anymore. So I'm happy to hear you say that. I'm ready to get to it, and even if it's gonna really hurt me, and the people that die, I don't want them to die. It still builds. You got to build it up for everybody else. I need to worry for Mark because right now Mark gonna be fine. He's the invincible one, I guess. Everybody just in my mind is fine right now. So we need something. We need at least one big death by the end of the season. Yeah,
no, you're right. Like there's some good stuff coming. And I remember like my colleague Natalie, who I work with, who knows like knows the show as well. And I remember like I came back and she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was just like, "You'll never guess what I've just read on my lunch break." She was just like, "Oh my God."
Lunch break.
Yeah, on the lunch break, I'm sitting there, people doing stuff around me, and I'm like freaking the fuck out reading this like at the table. But yeah, man, it was like I'm excited for this shit to happen.
I hope it's not Oliver. I hope if it's gonna be somebody, it's gotta be a superhero being too. I don't want it to be Debbie because I think it's still a cop out if it's a human or if it's any of the Guardians from Earth. It needs to be one of these like big baddies that we took into battle with us, right?
Right. And it ain't just one. That's all I'm saying. Ooh, spoiler, little peek. But yeah, so getting back to this, fucking hell. So yes, I like as well when Mark sees that happen. I love when he goes over and he's like, "I killed Conquest and I'll kill you too." And I love when all the Viltrumites turn and look at him. They're like, "Oh, you killed Conquest."
It was a surprise though. They did a good job with this because I was expecting him to be. I was like, well, he's going to be the most agile. He's going to be the best fighter, obviously. I didn't expect that he was going to be like unpunchable. Like you can't even punch him.
Yeah,
that was another level up. I was really impressed with that, and it made him hurt his wrist a little bit. And then we go to his. I'm really glad they included the shot during their fight of Mark's POV where he's like very disoriented, like because we do need that. I need to know like how hard it is to fight this guy, and I think that was brilliant.
No, I loved the way it was shot. I loved the flash of like the devil face as well, like the quick flash of that. That was really.
Oh my gosh, cool. That was crazy! Yeah, so that was good.
Right? So good. Like I love that. That flash was so good. But I like as well, like in reference to this, when like you notice when Oliver goes to attack him, the first thing he does is crushes his hand and just says "you're nothing" and like bats off his jaw. Whereas when Mark goes to fight him, he's like, "Okay, show me what you got," because he really thinks
let me just float here, right? Like you're not even full Viltrumite. You think you're gonna come and attack me?
Yeah, exactly. And he gives Mark the chance because he sees him as more of something. And obviously, he sees Oliver as nothing, right? Because he was bred with such a weak race. So he's like, "I've got no time for you. Let's see what you got." Oh, nothing as well. That's hilarious. But yeah, I loved this. This was so fucking good. Like this little fight. And then I like as well when like Nolan's like, "Right, fucking game plan. Everybody on me. Okay. Let's go."
This was so cool. I love shit like this, right? I love when if we're going to do a battle, I have a little bit of criteria for a really good battle. One, it needs to last a long time, right? Like Buffy's season 7 battle was so short and it could have been a full hour long.
It was so
could have been a full hour long. And I need planning and plotting. Right. You saw Wicked for Good, right? That second one?
Yeah.
Okay. Love that she was out there trying to take down the system, but we didn't get any fucking planning from her. I didn't see anything that she was planning, any sort of like attempts, like assassination attempts or anything like that.
Exactly.
And like, I love shit like this where he is like, you know what? I've got a plan. Let's go. I don't have time to explain it to you, but everybody just listen to me and gather around, right? And we've got the 3 Viltrumites in the middle, and then we've got everybody else flanking them around them, right? And I don't think he intended to take anybody down into the core with those 3, but he knew that they had a little bit of armor around them to get them further in, right? And I just I love the planning. I love the planning with that.
Yeah, no, it was spot on. Like this for me is like, excuse me, I said this to like Ian in the last episode where like Nolan for me in this right now is like that co-worker that you can't fucking stand but is really good at the job. So like in this point, like his expertise in this is vital for the fight, right? So like he needs to be there. So like him recognizing, right, okay, split moment, let's go. Space Racer, fire your gun. We're going to follow this. Like, Alan, go and find Oliver. Let's fucking do this. And I love that it wasn't a quick second thing. Like in the comic, it doesn't go on as long. It's like very quick and then the world blows up. But I love that we saw all of this, them going through the crust, going down.
Every moment. And you know, we got all of them as a unit flying in, you know, people going down left and right, and then we're just left with these three, and then Thrag like realize. I love the moment where he realizes what he is doing, right, and then goes after them, but it's just not quick enough, and we go straight into the fucking ground. Because at first when we hit the ground, I was like, oh, so it's like a nuclear bomb, you know, like times 1,000, and it's just gonna kind of blow everything up. And then they keep going. It's like fuck, they're going through straight through the entire planet. They're gonna go through the fucking crust and everything. I love seeing all of the shots of them fucking like it's really we're playing pretend a little here too, right? Because like I do feel like it would have slowed them down, but
100%, yeah.
Didn't slow them down. Because what are they flying off of, right? Like momentum is still a thing. You know, science is still a thing, and we're kind of like not following science here. But yeah, I love seeing their clothes sort of burn up. I feel like it was a cop out just letting it burn off at the
all the
waist.
Trousers. Let's come on. They should have been there naked at the end. I was waiting for it.
The whole thing. But and I thought for a moment we were going to start seeing their skin get like a little crispy too, right? Like stuff, and I think we should have done it. We should have done that. But fuck, I mean, they went through everything else already. Let Mark come out a little pretty at the end, but it was just fucking cool, man, and like such a good fucking game plan, and that was really Nolan at that point. Making his for sure choice. He has made a choice, and it is not the VILTRUMITES.
Exactly. And like the thing is as well, like what I loved about that, you're totally right. I even had in my notes like burned everything off but their pants. Like, literally, I'm like, just show us some butt. But literally, but I love that Nolan in this point, after having that conversation with Throg, knows that this will hit him fucking hard. Yeah. So like they can't physically do damage to him, but this will break his spirit. And I love that Nolan was like, right, this is what's gonna fucking hurt him hard.
And it's already a dead race. It's already a dead planet, right? Like it's these VILTRUMITES holding on to this dead relic of what they used to be so hard that I'm almost a little bit more scared of Thrag without this planet, right? Because you've taken the only thing away from him that it's almost like the planet is the same as the skull. He's like really holding on to that, right?
That's such a good point.
And it's fucking gone now. And so I'm more scared of somebody who doesn't have anything else left than somebody who's protecting something, you know?
That's such a good point. That planet is the skull. That's a great point. Because like when you think about it, yes, he was holding on to tradition. We are the VILTRUMITES. This is what we do. When all of that is gone, then who is Throg? You know, and that's the interesting question. Because now we got no idea what that. Well, I know, but we got no idea what that fucker's gonna do. You know, because he's not relying on his laurels of we are VILTRUMITES. This is what we. That planet's gone. That skull's gone.
Well, he also needs like a quick plan because now he's got people who he's supposed to be leading,
right?
And he's just let the fucking planet go. The planet he failed. And they could easily overthrow him, right? Maybe not. I mean, he's very strong, but they could easily overthrow him in theory, and so he needs to keep them as well. Right. So he's got to be quick thinking, and he fucking was, man.
Now listen, I love how angry he is when he like pulls like the thing apart and he's like, you, and like grabs Thaddeus and tears his head
my God,
off.
he's just like
so quick.
Shit is crazy. This is why I'm also like, then why wasn't he doing that already?
Yes.
And again, I do think it's ego. I think it's more ego
100%.
That he's like, this army, this small group of people are below me, so I'm not going to insert myself into a fight. But then that ego came to bite him in the ass, because had he just gone down, torn everybody's heads clean off, the planet would still be there. He'd still have all of his shit, right?
Exactly.
But he just thought he was too good, you know? And so they got and they bested him.
Yes, and that's the thing, is that now he knows that. Do you know what I mean? So like that scream, that everything, it's like you didn't do it. You didn't die in the way I wanted you to die. You did something else outside of my plan. You went against his ego in many ways, which again, they've made him look like a fool in front of his army, right? By like blowing up this planet because he did not expect that to happen. As you said, we saw his reaction when he tried to chase after them and that was no good. So like now he is royally fucking pissed, you know? And like that's why we get at the end of the episode, probably why he goes to Earth because he knows, well, you're going to fuck my planet up. But
again, why wouldn't he kill these two then? Why wouldn't he kill them dead? What is that? Is there a reason for that?
Well, yeah, I mean, did you think Nolan was dead when he shoves his hand through him? Like, did you think this was
No, nobody. I didn't think anybody was dead. Nobody's dead in this fucking show. Everybody is Sidney Prescott in this. Yes, we can get stabbed, we can get shot, we're all good.
Like, he rips Thaddeus' head off and you're like, he's good. Just put it back on his
I even think he might still be good. I am not convinced that Thaddeus is even dead.
That's so fucking funny. It's just his head. Just his head in a jar.
I think so. He might just be moving around, you know? He's floating somewhere, but...
Listen,
and poor Battle Beast. We didn't even mention that poor Battle Beast just got slapped into space and we haven't even gotten his ass.
Right, exactly. But he will come back into it in a big way, which I'm so excited about. Can't wait to see what they do with that in the show. But yeah, like... I asked a few people and they were like, oh my God, yeah, I thought like Nolan was a goner. Because like we do linger on the fact that, you know, Nolan's had his hand shoved through him by THRAGG. He's like floating off and then he does go to like almost push Mark's eyes in. But obviously he is looking back at the world that's been destroyed behind them. And I guess in his mind, he's like, oh, I can't kill any more Viltrumites. I need to hang on to what I've got to repopulate us. So
that seems like a stupid fucking move, though, because you're not going to sway these two. These two have already made a choice. They blew up the fucking planet, right? These are... If you get rid of them, then Earth doesn't have anybody like them defending it. This seems like a really bad plan on his end. So,
well, all I'll say is it's not the end of the plan. And like we'll see what happens in the next episode. I know obviously what's going on, but we'll see like how it leads out. But yeah, obviously, you know, so then they float off into space. They get picked up by Alan in the ship. We obviously see them get repaired in the ship. So Oliver's in the tank. And then we see like, oh, the reveal Nolan's actually still alive. You know, and then Alan says something like, I'm the new leader of the coalition. Like, I'm the one who's in charge now. And obviously, this is when they figure out, right, when they're like, right, okay, so we need to try and lock this down. Where do we think they've gone? They haven't just disappeared. And then Mark has that sudden zoom in on his
crazy.
face.
I was thinking of it the entire time, too. I'm like, they're going to fucking Earth. Y'all need to speed this up because we should already be on the way. This is crazy because if they're going to get to Earth first. And if they get to Earth first, there's going to be so much death as soon as we fucking get there, right? So I'm scared to see what Earth looks like when we arrive. Because it's not, I mean, they're going to already be there.
Listen, I'm just excited to see how they're going to do it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But what do you think they're going to do on Earth? You think they're going to, like, kill everyone?
They're not going to wipe it out, but I think what we saw at the beginning of this episode is what because their mindset is still the same, right? They're still, like, very driven by ego. And I think it is a wipe 25% out and show them our strength and they will fall in line. And I think that's probably what's going to happen.
Interesting. Cool. Obviously, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not in a position to guess.
I feel like all the Guardians are going to be gone by the time we get there.
Oh my God. I think this isn't me confirming anything, but if we had another scene of like another Viltrumite wiping out all the Guardians, that would be fucking wild.
I think it would be... I think they should do it. I like them, but I feel like we need to be scared of the Viltrumites again. And I'm not really. Like, I've lost a little bit of my fear towards the Viltrumites, right? Like, I remember whichever season it was that they're like, well, they've gone off. Oh, it was the season where I don't remember who it was, but somebody like recognized that Mark was a Viltrumite and was like, okay, so breeding here on Earth was successful. I'm going to go up and get the rest of the Viltrumites and we're going to come back. And that thought of like they're coming back was really fucking scary. Yeah. But then they kind of dropped that, right? And so we haven't had that since. And I need to be scared of them again.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. It's a really good point. Like, you're right. Nothing hits harder than when, like, we said this, right? When Anissa came down and put her hand on, like, Amber's neck and was like, you try and jump across this table, I'll snap her neck before you reach me. that felt impactful because we were like, oh fuck, who is this bitch? Like, she is powerful, you know? And like right now, you know, we are seeing like, and it leads into the titles, right? Of like the credits, the opening title card of like the Viltrumite color breaking away, and we're seeing more of space.
Yeah.
Like they are starting to break the Viltrumites down, which is why that's happening, right? But yeah, no, that's an interesting theory, and I would love, imagine if they just recreated it scene for scene, but had THRAGG instead of Nolan, just like wiping out the Guardians.
Oh my gosh.
That would be wild, but I ain't saying anything. But yeah, that brings us to the end of the episode. So let's get some overall thoughts with you, Zach, and then pick your favorite scene, and then give your rating out of 10 for this episode.
Okay, so you said overall thoughts first?
So like overall thoughts, like include your favorite scene, and then like give rating out
amazing episode, love it at all. Favorite scene is them going through the fucking planet. That's such an amazing like show of strength. Love shit like that. We're gonna have like the gods fighting in space, you know. We've got to have a planet being torn apart. And then I guess I don't know, I'd rate it maybe out of what scale, or
just out of 10.
Room for improvement. So I'm going to do like an 8 out of 5, right? I do think we need more stakes. We need more stakes. The battles are great, but we need more stakes.
Yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair. I'm higher. I loved this episode. I thought it was so good. I loved I love the pacing of this episode where we start like pre-battle, we're like warming up, we're going over the plan, and then like we get the little character beats of like him recording that message for Eve, and like Nolan talking to his sons, and like all of this, and then when they go out and you think like, right, what is going to happen? Oh shit, they're surrounded. And I thought it was really well paced. As you said, the big fight delivered so well. It was so fun to watch. And then like I love that it was just, I like all of the reflection of, remember this when we worked on this, now it's here. Do you remember these creatures that were caught? Now they're here. Do you remember all of these characters that were recruited? Now they're here. So cool. Loved all of that. I guess secondary, I mean, obviously my favorite scene is them blowing up the planet. Like, it's just so well done. I love that we go on the journey with them as we're watching it. Like, all of it. It's like we don't skip out on any of it. I love that. Secondary was probably Battle Beast and like them all turning and staring at him. That was just fucking hilarious. And I love that. If I love anything with Battle Beast, it was good fun. Yeah. I'm 9 out of 10 for this, hands down. Okay. This for me is a really strong episode. The only 10 I've given so far was episode 5, and that's because of the scene with Debbie and Nolan. That for me is just...
What would have brought this to a 10 for you?
Ooh, good question. I don't know. I think there was just something, like, I guess the reason why I gave that 10 in that episode is because that emotional impact, that like punch between Debbie and Nolan hung on me for a while after the episode. It's something that I've gone back and watched again. Whereas for this, although it's a really cool episode, I really loved this, I don't feel that emotional punch of something hanging on me. And even though, like, you know, we saw Mark could have been dead, we saw Nolan could have been dead, there was something about that with that Nolan and Debbie scene that just hung on me. And I loved the emotional stakes. I loved Debbie in that moment. And I didn't feel a pull like that. So for me, I guess that was the one thing that was missing a little bit.
It could have been Oliver.
Yeah.
But the time to settle on Oliver is happening. No time to go over to Oliver's body, you know, put it on her and say, well, I'll come back for you, right? Because there was just so much happening that, you know, we just... But so I agree. I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. He could have like gone over and just attached like his jaw again and put his arm back on, but we ain't got time for that shit.
So, okay. So make a prediction without giving a spoiler, I guess. Anybody who's read the comics, I guess, will understand what you're saying, but say like 3 keywords that predict where you think episode 8 will leave off.
Okay. So I will say this, which isn't 3 words, but this will change the trajectory of the show.
Okay.
And then I will say, maybe not episode 8, but what the end will probably lead into is choice. I'll say that. Betrayal. I'll say that. And the last word, I'll say stakes.
Okay. Stakes is a good one, but betrayal's got me. So now I'm like, Nolan, you fucker. I knew it. I knew it, Nolan.
I never took my eye off you fucker. I ain't saying anything.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'll say, hang on to that word betrayal, because that's something that will going forward into the rest of the show, you'll see again. That's all I'll say.
Okay. I hope we bring that electricity lady back, because I know she's still like trapped.
I know, right? Like, I like.
What's her name?
Universa. Yeah. I fucking loved her with that stuff, and I will say, I'm intrigued what they're going to do with her in the show, because in the comic, we see her again very briefly, and then that's it. So I'm like, bring that bitch back. Like, have an episode all about her, like taking that electricity back to her planet, like, rather than fucking Damien. But yeah. Anyway, Zach, thank you so much for jumping on and covering this episode with me. This was a great one to come on for. I really appreciate it. This has been a great chat about the episode.
Absolutely.
And let everybody know where they can find you on the internet.
AZ or patreon.com/AZB plus is where you can find me mostly. But if you search my name, Zachary Garcia, Patton Garcia, I'll pop up. So
there you go. Go and check it out. So remember, every single episode of the podcast is available to watch on YouTube. So if you do type Last Week On into YouTube, you'll find us all on there. Come see our pretty faces. We are available, obviously, on all podcast streaming platforms. So listen to us on all of them. Give us a 5-star review. Otherwise, do not bother. If you want to follow the podcast on all social media, it's Last Week On Pod. Type that in, you'll find us on there. And if you want to follow me, I am at Straughan87 on everything. So type that in, you'll see my face. But Zach, thanks again. This has been a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. And yes, finale next week, baby. I'm excited.
Hell yeah, I'm so excited. Yeah, it feels like it came like so soon. We were just talking about it premiering.
Literally comes and goes. But at least we haven't got too long to wait. It is February next year, so we're getting there.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Until next time, take care.